I moved from Belgium to Bluff. They have nothing in common. Um, but really, how I got into it was that I was working at the Maxwell Museum of Anthropology as a work study student. So that was my Southwest connection. I was in New Mexico. And Jim Osler, I was talking about him a little while ago. So in probably 84, whenever he first saw Cow Canyon, he was working at Hubble Trading Post and came up to Bluff, Utah and saw a for sale sign at Cow Canyon Trading Post. And it was literally falling apart. Jim said the stone fireplace, that is really a cool fireplace that you've probably seen. It has a keystone from the original Bluff School. Most of the sandstone blocks are from various buildings that were falling down in Bluff that Rusty Musselman scavenged and built up. But Jim said the place was being held up by the fireplace, basically. But that was, I've done this for 34 years now. So from the get go, um, Trading Post, this place for sure, is about relationships. And certainly, Jim worked in Zuni and came here every weekend. And when it rained here, we had buckets up and down the Trading Post and just went methodically and worked our heads off to fix it and to love it and to expand it. And I like to cook. So in 1986, I opened the store and people would just show up. And then it seemed much more remote. They were like, wow, that smells good. And I would invite them in. And then I realized I got to quit doing that. Right. So we opened the restaurant in 1987, 23 years later. It was a big deal. We just served dinner. It was very eclectic. But I had probably two main Navajo families that worked here in the restaurant, and the Trading Post went on at the same time. And it was a very vibrant time. The parking lot was jammed. I mean, you couldn't fit another car in there. People were here from Europe. They'd walk in, there was wine, there was jazz. They were like, where am I? What smells so good? And we were grilling outside and there was art in the store. And, I wanted everyone in the kitchen, if they had time, to sell in the store. So there was this marvelous interaction of cultures and art. And people didn't forget it. It changed people. They came back. They were pissed when I quit in '09. I ended it, but the restaurant part. So when we opened in August 1st of 1986, the inventory we had was basically stuff that Jim had been collecting over the years from auctions or his own, there were Pueblo textiles, there were pottery, some jewelry, etc., things like that. It looked pretty sparse, right? And I was interested in weaving from my own background, from the Middle East and from studying in a textile school in Europe and other things like that. And of course, I didn't quite know how to expand the rug rack. So the first thing I did was go to Crown Point Rug Auction, which was fascinating. But I soon realized the word got out in Bluff with weavers in this area, and I didn't need to do that. Pretty soon I had regular clientele that kept up for years and years. The same families would come back with rugs. And those relationships made me realize that it was a very important sustaining work for me. I loved being with primarily women. I was with other weavers. I was with their kids. There was humor. There was a pace to it. And there were many older women that especially because I loved those saddle blankets. I liked homespun work. not to say I didn't enjoy the young ones, and I loved buying kids' first rugs. That just thrilled me to no end. It was so much fun. And seeing people teaching their kids to weave, and then from there buying tools that people would make to, weaving combs and weaving battens, to supplying wool, all of those to encourage people to come back. And then for the the buyers, for the tourists that came back, to come in and see a working trading post, that there was camaraderie, there was a friendship, there was love there was respect, and they were built on years. And in the restaurant, those women are sisters to me today. They helped me through grief and joy, and I miss them. And the old weavers that are more and more, they're gone. I deeply miss them. I guess it's showing my gray hair. It's a bygone era in a way. It's changed. I still love it. I still love the trading post. I think, I've been reflecting on it because of COVID. This year is so hard. You feel sawn, like someone sawed you off. You've been sawn in half, emotionally, mentally, many ways. And part of it is because the relationships that we love and we need as humans, they're truncated. And so I worried for some of the artists, because I buy from often the same people. As I travel to Zuni. I have for years and years, because Jim worked there. So families that I care about, the money is very important. They make their living from art, right? At a kitchen table often. What's going to happen? What's happening? And it's very hard on many, many people. But the art world, and the arts festival, to bring people in, to interact and to be able to buy and sponsor artists. And I think that means a lot. That does mean a lot to many of the people that travel here. Not everybody, but a lot of them really get it. That they're not just buying knickknacks from Walmart or something. They're buying things that they'll pass down, that they'll take with them, and then they'll see, oh, that's that place where there was a night sky that I will never forget. That's that place that smelled like wood smoke. That's that place. That's that lady. She's got a kid in a wheelchair. The people, there are all these things they would remember you. They were memories, right? And it's kind of set up a bit because it's an old style. It has old wooden floors and a fireplace and vigas, and it's kind of dark when you come in. And I have all manner of old antique chairs that I adore, and probably the lighting's not the greatest, and but I pride myself on the art of placement and display and so on, and it's beautiful. It's beautiful, and I put flowers from the season or whatever out. But people come in and are sometimes they're not sure if they're coming into your living room. Can I go in there, or is this a museum? And I particularly like it if someone's coming in to, for instance, to come sell a rug or to sell something. That's an interesting exchange, because all of a sudden you've got folks that are used to me, that we have a trader artist relationship. But I always admire how low key and patient many Navajo artists are. They will never interrupt if obviously, they won't come in and say, hey, I've got something here. They just totally assess the situation and then go sit down and look at a book, or just totally take it all in. And it's a teaching to me of how to calm down a little bit. And sometimes it's tricky because you kind of want privacy to do it, but it's a neat space. It has a lot of different rooms that you can wander through, and I think people kind of get lost in. It kind of takes you back in time. It has beauty.
That's great.
Right now, I think some people are just struggling just to get by, right? It's hard even just to maintain a type of rhythm during the day because this has gone on for so long and it's taken its toll mentally on people. I think it's important more than ever for us to recognize what we mean to each other and to recognize that we all have gifts to contribute. And when we have storytellers are there, or silversmiths are there, or mud toy makers are there, or photographers are there, or musicians are there. They feed us. That's why I kind of lost it there for a minute. But I know there's virtual stuff going on and you see musicians trying, but to actually see live music again will make me weep. To have the people come back into the store to sell to me again makes me cry just to think about having them back. That's art as medicine. And I think to stop and realize that we depend upon each other, buyers, sellers, organizers, and we need to be kind, recognize it. There's too much negativity. It's damaging. So the art is positive, good thing.